Okay, so you know how I was gonna set up my new shelves and do like a time lapse and show you guys taking all this stuff down and then putting all this stuff up and all that good stuff. Well, listen, I kind of forgot. I'm pretty excited about this new setup, mainly because I have so much room. I was having to turn things on top of each other. You guys saw in past videos, it was awful, just awful. I kind of categorize things a little differently. I don't like alphabetizing. That's too much for my brain. So I do categories. Some of them make sense. Some of them are just things that I come up with, like my favorite movies from when I was a child. That's almost a whole shelf. I could show you guys around a little bit. I don't want to take up too much of your time. I'm just so excited. As I'm sure most of you can tell, this is pretty much turned into the horror section. And it's great because I've got all this room left over and I got a whole shelf on the bottom that I haven't even touched yet. I pretty much dedicated the top shelf up here to any box sets that I may have or larger special editions. If you do not own this DVD box set of the Nightmare on Elm Street collection, it's by far the best one that they put out. I do have this, which is basically a fancy box that holds the German media book editions. Yeah, the rest of this shelf is dedicated to box sets. I've got the recent Scream Factory, Friday the 13th, the old school Scream Factory, Halloween, which I just lucked into when it came out. Some second sight editions, some 101 editions, more Scream. I like this shelf. It's fun. It's almost full, but hey, it's fun. The next 3 shelves, however, are dedicated to my Arrow collection. Now, if you're not familiar with Arrow, they're kind of like a boutique horror thriller. There's some comedies in there. Based out of the UK, they put out amazing editions. This top shelf up here is dedicated to their limited hardbox editions. The older ones, kind of in this area, they were the limited editions, but they were before they went to hardbox. So they got a nice box to them, but they're kind of thin, so they're a little fragile. Probably the first ever Arrow thing that I bought was this house collection. I used to love these films when I was a kid. When I saw that this was a box set, I said, holy crap, and I jumped all over it, and that's what introduced me to Arrow Video. They've recently done a second edition of this. It's a little bit smaller. This, of course, the Scarlet box, is a phenomenal box set. The way it comes apart. If you guys want me to do more detailed videos on any of these editions, just leave a comment. I got no problem. Some of these on the hardbox editions, what I've done, I actually kind of stole the idea from other collectors, is I'll get the hardbox edition, but then Arrow also puts out a Steelbook edition, and they fit perfectly in the hard boxes. So it kind of opts as a protection for your Steelbooks at the same time. The next Arrow edition that I got was the Donnie Darko. They're fixing to put out a 4K version coming out later on this year. Of course, that's on pre-order. But this first one they did was a really good box set, and I jumped all over it too. But they do really good. It's larger box sets. Again, hard box sets. I really like the hard ones, pretty much starting from here. All hard box. The older versions are in like a thinner, not too thin paper, but you know, really, really old ones like this one, of course, over the years, they can get crunched because there's just not a lot of protection. I really like that they went to the hard box, and I really love when they do editions of these. They also put out amazing steelbooks. The artwork on their steelbooks are always phenomenal. That's probably one of my favorites. That orange is just, it just sticks out so great. Yeah, same way with the blue on Time Bandits. It's a really good addition. But like I said, they do comedies too. I mean, I guess you can consider this a horror movie if you want to, but to me, that's one of the great horror movies right there. I love that movie, and it falls under comedy for me. Also on this shelf, I do the slipcover editions. I get the protectors from Malco. I can actually put a link, or not a link, I can put a code in the description. If you guys want to check them out, I have a 10% off code that applies to their, these are the same size that fit the Steelbook, any Steelbook editions. They close at the top and the bottom, so it's a full protective case. Look out down in the description. I'll put my 10% off code down for you guys. You can only use it once, so make sure you order plenty. Don't just try out a handful and then waste the 10%. And then this third shelf of Arrow is just their standard edition cases. Some of these did have slipcover editions, but I unfortunately missed out. Yeah, the rest of the shelf, again, the rest of my horror, some classic stuff. Most of the time I'll group like Stephen King together, Hitchcock. I'll try to put stuff together. The Scream Factory steels that they've been putting out, they just look good together. With that font on the spines, looks really good. I try to also group together stuff like zombie movies, vampire movies, any sort of just craziness. I'll try to put those together within the horror section. So I was super excited to add this entire section to the shelf. That really did help free up some room. I'm sure in past videos you guys, this was pretty much all shelves, but I did go up, so I gained 2 shelves on this wall. Still have empty ones at the bottom, so that's super exciting. So this shelf I dedicated to trilogies and sagas. 4K Steelbook box for Harry Potter, the recently Hobbit and Lord of the Rings, the new 4K lineup from Zavvi for all the Star Wars. Let's all praise Jesus that this finally came. If you know what I'm talking about, you know what I'm talking about, but it's finally in there, so it's complete. The old school Indiana Jones. These covers are awesome. 4Ks are coming out. Haven't heard if they're going to do Steelbooks yet, but they're going to have to work really hard to get me to replace these because I love that artwork. New Back to the Future. Again, just trilogies, sagas, anything like that. The next shelf I did down are kind of like your action. Next shelf down is the, I guess you can call it sci-fi. It's mostly sci-fi stuff. There's some wacky things in there too, but and the shelf after that is kind of my what the fuck shelf. I'm sorry for the language, but you know, a lot of these movies you watch them and you think, okay, that was weird, you know. I think leading the pack should be the 7 one-click from Mantelab. And again, I've got 3 more shelves to go. That's pretty awesome. Once I had all these movies up here, I thought to myself, man, my collection is tiny. What am I doing? So this top shelf, mostly comic-based. There might be a few in there that really don't apply, but you know, I threw them in here just because they got the same feel. And I'll know where they're at when I need them. And of course, the next shelf, if it's not obvious enough, is the Marvel shelf. I was able to snag these bookends from Zavvi. If they're still in stock, I highly suggest going to grab them. They are a hand-numbered run. They only did 4,000 of them. and they just really frame out the MCU perfectly. And on the shelf, I just kind of continued on all the Spider-Man, all the X-Men, the Punisher films, the Daredevil from Netflix. This is pretty much, you know, it starts with the MCU, but it's all Marvel. And then, of course, you had to have a DC shelf. And shockingly, my DC shelf is already pretty much full. So I'm going to have to do some rethinking. Of course, you know, I can turn this one sideways to save some room, and this one too. So I could save room. I just got those turned out because I had the room and the artwork is awesome. Breaks down into DC TV shows, the ones I like at least, and then all the DC animated steelbooks that they've put out. And this next one is what I was talking about as far as like films that I just remember from my childhood, and I just love them all so much. Neverending Story, stuff like Revenge of the Nerds, this Beastmaster that came out, Monster Squad. You know, all of these titles. If you're an 80s kid, you're really gonna enjoy reading some of these. We got both Teen Wolves up here. I mean, 80s and 90s, really. You got Tommy Boy up here, Bill and Ted. These is just, I love this shelf. Project X, that's a great film. Cocoon Returns, Harry and the Hendersons. These are all just films that I just remember from my childhood. Fly the Navigator, you know, Gremlins, Goonies, Beetlejuice. Multiple editions of some of these. I love this shelf. It's I'll have to turn this the other way. I just really love that artwork to gain some room. As you can see, it's already pretty full. Just below that, I just make kind of a comedy shelf. And as for right now, Tarantino's kind of sort of got his own shelf. I need to do something. Of course, it's not all Tarantino, but you know, it's pretty much it. I might move. I got like a gangster section right below it. Maybe I'll move it up there and combine it, because this whole shelf system. I got something on every shelf, as opposed to the one next to it where I got 3 empties. Here's kind of the gangster section, the war section, and the western section. Kept them all on the same shelf and was able to have some room left over. Below it, it's kind of a mixture of stuff, honestly. There's some, maybe not biopics if you want to say, but you know, Rocket Man, The Doors, Bohemian Rhapsody, First Man, stuff like that. And there's your, I don't know what kind of name I'd give this shelf. I think all these kind of fall sort of within a category. I guess they all just kind of get my attention. You know, you talk about Walter Mitty and Birdman, What Dreams May Come. I kind of got a little bit of a Robin Williams section right there. Still debating if I should expand that. You know, ending off with Eternal Sunshine and Lost in Translation. It's just kind of I don't know, it's kind of a shelf that movies that just really get my attention when I'm watching them. And right below them, I just kind of made a short little Christmas TV area on one end of this last bottom shelf. On the other end, I've got your Disney, Pixar, all that good stuff. I've upgraded some of the Pixar to the 4K versions, but some of those older steelbooks look really good. And I've kind of started getting into the older Zavvi Disney. I'm mainly just sticking to the ones that I remember most from my childhood, like Robin Hood, Sword in the Stone. These are great looking steelbooks. I love the framing they put around most of them. So yeah, that's kind of a quick tour. If there's any additions that you saw that you want me to do a more detailed video of, put it in the descriptions. If I can't do a video, maybe I can post some pictures up on Instagram. if you follow me over there. It's the same name as my channel, Stills Racing 4Ks. But let me know. I got some ideas of some more videos I'm going to be doing, so if you haven't subscribed, please do. I'm trying to make this kind of like the next level of what I want to be doing. My Instagram's doing really good, and I wouldn't mind bringing a lot of y'all over here and finding new people. Again, anything in this video that you've seen that you want more detail on, put it in the comments below. I'll see if I can do a video, maybe do like a stack, and we'll just kind of review them. Or like I said, we can post up some pictures on Instagram. But thanks for your time. This is probably the longest video I've made so far. So if you've made it this far through, you know, you're awesome. And I thank you. And yeah, we'll see you next time.